Hello and welcome back to the did you seriously just change the way I was going? Anyway, welcome to Cycle Gear, where I just bought some stuff for the SV650. I am trying to buy off you know, like smaller stores run by people these days, but when you just need something on the day, you do it this way. Whee! I did just buy this lovely new Street and Steel jacket, and I can't remember the gentleman's name who suggested these, but I must say good job. I must say thank you very much, because it is very comfortable and kind of has hit the itch I was trying to scratch, because my other jacket is nice but it's just really hot, and you know, this has kind of let the airflow through me a hell of a lot better, so pretty pleased with that. So yeah, today's video, it's about motivation. I was recently asked by someone who watches the channel, you know, how I basically keep making videos, you know, for 5+ years, because and I mean, I don't disagree with them. They were like, you know, you haven't really hit the heights, so to speak, which again, I agree, I haven't. The views on my channel are very uninspiring, we shall say. You know, the videos that did best on my channel over the years, okay, weird, were always my reviews, my bike reviews, which I can't really do anymore, because I don't have access to bikes, the same way as Freeman's gave me access to bikes, which, you know, is another reason why I will forever love Freeman's. That's Freeman's Motorcycles in Clonmel. You should go buy stuff from them, or even just go in and say hello, because they have tea and coffee and they're great. But I just realized I don't know that I literally just bought this jacket, bought a nice level 2 back protector for it, but I don't remember did I put my other jacket into the box. See, can we do it while we roll? This is not safe, do not try this at home. Yes, I did. Okay, anyway, yeah, so motivation, and I mean, it was a good question, because, you know, their point was, you know, you're not really like lighting the world light with views and stuff, and you know, I know there's going to be some people who are like, why would they say that? That's so mean. But they're right. It's absolutely fine. I don't mind people pointing that stuff out. You know what I mean? It's and there's a number of reasons for that. Is like, you know, one, maybe my videos just are not. Why is that all loopy like that? Maybe my videos are just not the most interesting or whatever, which is, this is unsafe. I should probably stop doing unsafe things. There we go. Maybe they're not the most interesting, you know, maybe, you know, it's nice that everyone used to always tell me I was good at reviews. I still do reviews, by the way, when I can, but the problem is, with reviews, like on products, I try to use them for quite a long time before I review them, because I think that's just the fairest way to do it. And you know, nothing like that is ever scripted. It's just my observations that I can think of at the time. I try to do talking points, but I digress. You know, and I just actually like making videos. It's and some days I don't, you know, and we'll get into that in a second. But you know, the motivation for me is just off the bat, the thing that keeps me making videos is when you get a comment from someone, like for instance Callandy comments, and he even said the last time, you know, I really enjoy following along your adventures. I'm paraphrasing, I don't remember exactly what he said, but it was something like that. And, you know, simple pieces of comments like that is what makes me go, oh, okay, well, cool, I'll just keep making them then. Or, you know, there was a recent comment on the Gixxer 750 where I had done the clutch, and someone messaged me saying, like, you know, I'm going to give this a go thanks to this video. I think I've watched it like 7 or 8 times. And then they messaged me afterwards and were like, thanks to your video, I managed to change the clutch. Thank you so much. I did it myself. That is honestly a huge part of the reason why, you know, despite certain oil changes being a little bit repetitive, you know, I'm making oil changes for different bikes. Now, for me, it's like, anyone can do this, but also, you know, just watch one Japanese bike oil change and you can do any Japanese bike oil change. But then, you know, people want to see exactly their bike, which I understand. So that's why I keep making them, even though I'm like, you know, some people aren't going to want to watch this, it's repetitive. Then you do get people who are just like, whoa, that's my bike and I can follow this to the letter, which, yeah, I mean, that makes a big difference for some people. So that's why I keep doing them. Same as all the servicing stuff. That's why I keep doing them. But yeah, I mean, to be completely honest with you, there are quite a number of days that, you know, I will see, you know, other videos, other creators and whatever else, and they're just blowing up. They're doing phenomenally. And, you know, some of it is just, to me, I don't understand why, you know, but that's, you know, it's just my personal taste. Maybe I just don't like their video type. Maybe I think they're legitimately bad. We won't name names. Or, you know, maybe that the title is very clickbaity, but covering the same content as I cover. But you see, the thing that I don't do is I do not do clickbait. I've never done clickbait. I once did a title that someone said they found clickbaity, and I changed the title because that's not what I'm about. I want people to click on my videos if they're actually genuinely interested in them, or they think that they can, you know, kind of solve something they're looking for. You know, there's been many days where, like I said, I see those videos doing super well and I'm like, yeah, maybe I should stop. You know, that's not an unusual thought. It does happen, and I think it's completely normal for it to happen. Like, no matter what you're doing, no matter what particular thing you're covering, you know, if okay, settle down there, pedal. You nearly made me miss my braking points because you were coming in hot. You know, I think that's completely natural for any hobby that anyone does, and this is a hobby, to be like, oh, maybe I'm wasting my time, maybe I'm not getting good on this. Maybe, you know, I should go and focus my energies elsewhere, which is pretty much the kind of the line of thinking that you know, does occur to me, is like, you know, could I make something of myself doing something else? But then I remember I have my job, and it is very difficult to add anything to you know, a full-time job that is you know, minimum 50 hours a week between the hours worked and then the commute and whatnot. So minimum, you know. So, you know, this is I do the best I can with the channel, and that's kind of, I think that's the largest thing for me personally, where I sometimes think, you know, oh, maybe I should stop, is because, you know, for multiple reasons, I previously had more time to put into some of the videos than I do now. And, you know, as it currently sits, I really would like to put way more time into the making of certain videos or whatever else. I've never been a huge fan of editing, but I'd also never hand off the editing. You know, people have reached out to me before, yeah, in various forms of requests saying that they could edit my videos. Some of them very, we won't say ignorant, we'll say rude. We'll use the term rude. And, you know, I don't see how anyone would think that would win me over. Yeah, please stop, thank you. But yeah, you know, I do the best I can. I have fun when I'm doing it, and that's kind of all I do. But yeah, I mean, motivation sense, if you are, especially, you know, for smaller creators out there, the motivation for me should come from you having fun. You know, like I'm just riding home from Cycle Gear. This is genuinely fun for me. I'm going to get to make a video, and I'm going to get to maybe talk to people about my opinions that I voiced in that video, and maybe some people find it interesting, maybe some people won't. And that's, I don't know what's going on here. And that's kind of, you know, a huge part of it for me, is that I find fun is la policía, is, you know, actually talking to people afterwards. Like, it's a genuine motivation. Like, for instance, in my life right now, I don't have any good bike friends that are local, you know. There's obviously Hatter is a good bike friend, as in, when I say good bike friends, I mean people I've ridden with. There's Hatter, there's Rafe and Tom are in New Jersey, Hatter's in West Virginia. You know, you're going to see them when you can, but it's not like they can come and just hang around in the garage a couple of nights a week and work on stuff. Which I mean, I also never had in Ireland. It was a very solitary existence, sadly, in Ireland also, just because I didn't really have any bike friends in Kilkenny. So kind of a similar, you know, a similar issue there is that, you know, you'd sometimes get people to come and hang out and work on stuff with you, but more of the time more of the time you didn't. And you know, maybe someday I'll bump into someone who lives near me here, and then we can hang around in the garage while I work, because that obviously does make working on bikes a lot more fun. And I mean, that is a kind of a large part of the, this is going to sound sad, it's not meant to sound sad, it actually makes me personally happy, but it's a large part of the motivation for me to keep making these videos, is the fact that I do have my people who I've never met before but are now good, I would class as good friends of mine, motorcycle friends of mine, you know, throughout the globe. And that's exactly how I met Hatter. It's exactly how I met people like Danimal, who I've not met in person yet but is a good friend of mine. Monkey Butt, who I have now met in person, and before that was a good friend of mine from Motorcycle Sense. There's Alex, or Gram Trooper. You know, I could go on. There's the long list. There's obviously the other Alex who was on the Blue Ridge Parkway trip for me, which I haven't edited yet, sorry. Mad Yankee is his username. There's you know, there's so many people. I'm not going to keep going because I'll be here a while. So anyone who feels like I've omitted you, I do apologize, but it wasn't intentional. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much my motivation is, you know, when you actually get to a point that you have helped someone, you know, or, you know, they tell you that you've helped them. That's pretty cool, because, you know, especially in you know, the career I do, the life I have, it's pretty rare to get to teach people and help people, you know. Obviously in a work sense, I do help people at work. Generally it's less exciting. Will you please move on? Just because it's a cop, you don't have to drive really slowly behind them. You know, in a work sense, I do obviously help train people and stuff, but it is less rewarding than when you show something that, you know, I'm actually passionate about. You know, not that I don't like my job, it's just I'm not passionate about it. I'm not passionate about engineering in a pharmaceutical or biomedical industry, you know. It's something that I don't mind doing. It's tolerable and it pays well, so that's why I do that. But you know, it's much different when you get to teach someone about motorcycles. I love motorcycles, and I also love cars. You know, I recently showed a friend how to you know, service his own car. We did oil filter, we did brakes and brake discs, and you know, that's something that, you know, you would hope someone's going to take away in their life and be able to save themselves money and enjoy doing it, hopefully, and then maybe show other people. And that to me is really cool, because that is a really useful knowledge that, especially in today's world, that stuff is so bloody expensive now that people legitimately like have anxiety about if something like that goes wrong in their car, or, you know, an upcoming oil change. They might be like, oh, I can't afford that, I'm gonna have to go without X or Y, and then you have the cost. You know what I mean? That to me is really, really, really cool. And it's the same with bikes. Bikes, for a lot of people, are just a hobby. It's something that it's a toy, you know. It's nearly a spend that a lot of people feel like they shouldn't be doing sometimes, because it's literally just for fun. They don't use it to commute, they don't use it like that. I do use it to commute. The V-Strom, for instance, is very much a tool. The Z900 is definitely a spend that, I mean, I obviously could do without. Same as the SV650. The Valkyrie, I don't know what I'm going to do with that when I do restore it. Maybe I'll ride it for a bit and then sell it. So that one is different, because obviously it's more like a possible investment. But you know, we'll see on that regard. Bagwell Cemetery. What does that remind? Oh, it reminds me of Hobbit's Bag End. That's pretty cool cemetery then. But from the high 300s for. Okay, I'm not. Some people get upset at me when I comment on the houses here, so I'm not going to comment on the houses here anymore. But I would not pay upper 300s for one of those ever, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, for me, it's something that I get a lot of. I'm not going to say reward, but fulfillment from. You know, that if I hear back from someone and they're like, for instance, that person with the Gixxer, you know, they probably couldn't have afforded to give that clutch to someone. That's why they wanted to take it on themselves, because people generally don't go looking for videos, you know, to do something like that themselves, unless they're like, okay, well, my clutch has given up the ghost, it is not working anymore. I don't want to just pack away my bike, which is a toy, but I also can't afford to give it to a garage right now, or a shop as they call over here right now. So then they went and looked it up and they found my video, and they watched it a few times, and they ordered the parts they need, they ordered the tools they need, and then they went and did it themselves. And not only did they do it themselves, but they might teach someone else how to do it themselves. They might be someone who'll say now, oh look, anyone can do this. This is actually pretty easy. You should try it yourself too. And that is where, honestly, now these days, the bulk of my motivation comes from, especially for stuff in the garage. Because, I mean, if you are doing a task on a bike and then you video it, you're pretty much doubling the length of time that job's going to take, and that is not a joke. It is literally twice as long to get it done, which I mean is fine, especially now that I'm used to it, but especially for different camera angles and whatever else. And you know, then inevitably you'll have to deal with people who are like, oh, you shouldn't have held the camera in your hands, it moved too much, or oh, that camera angle could have been 5 degrees less. You know, a lot of people would let all that stuff get to them, but that stuff, the comments and stuff have literally never bothered me, ever, while I've been making YouTube. I don't know why it is, I literally couldn't care less if someone comes and tells me they don't like an aspect of my video from like a presentative perspective. Now obviously if someone comes in, which generally people present this a little bit nicer, like I remember when I did the carburetors on the Gixxer, there was a gentleman from Brazil, and they're a very popular bike in Brazil, who commented and said, oh, you had the metal tab on the vacuum diaphragm flipped upside down. So I put a comment on that, I pinned his comment and I fixed it, and I told him thank you. Stuff like that, like constructive things that are like, hey, you legitimately did this wrong. Of course I'm gonna listen to that and fix it, you know, for me, because it's also learning. I'm not a mechanic. I have been putting that caveat into my videos for years, is I'm not a mechanic. Follow along at your own risk. This is just me making videos, you know, of the stuff I'm doing. I'm just a normal person, which is, you know, how, you know, part of my motivation to make those videos is to motivate others to realize, hey, I'm a normal person, but that normal person did this job, so I can do it too. Because I do think I've met people who've kind of been despairing about an item that needed doing on a bike, for instance, and they just couldn't afford it. So like, well, I'm going to sell the bike and that's it. I'm packing away biking for the foreseeable future. And then it turns out that they just needed a new chain and sprockets, which, by the way, is genuinely one of the easiest jobs that you can do on a bike. Once you've done it once or twice, it's a breeze. I can literally do chain and sprockets now in like 20 minutes. Genuinely. I think the last time I did it without recording it was on the CB750 Nighthawk, and I think it legitimately, I think it took me 25-30 minutes, say, between everything. It's genuinely so straightforward, and that's one that puts so many people off, because it is obviously a little bit more specialized, or it's seen as a little bit more specialized, and the parts are quite expensive. So then, you know, when you drop it into a workshop or a shop or a garage and they charge you, you know, call it 200 to 300 for the parts, and then you end up with a bill of 600 total because you have labor and materials and all that stuff, and disposal, whatever you want to say. And people think that's so expensive, which in reality it's not, because you have all the overheads of a workshop. I mean, the chain and sprockets I want to get for the SV650 are $200, and I am doing that at home in my garage, and that's literally just materials, you know what I mean? I already own the tools, but I don't have fancy ones because, again, I'm not a professional garage. So, you know, all that stuff plays into it. And again, that's a big thing for me, is, you know, people genuinely might otherwise think, I can't do this. This is way too much for me. I can't do this. I'm not going to be able to fix my bike because I can't afford that. And you know, that makes me sad, because they can. With just a little bit of time invested, not only can they do it, but they've learned a life skill. And that's honestly a huge part of my motivation, is number one, obviously, to kind of drive myself to learn more stuff myself. You know, I've learned valve clearances better because I wanted to be able to present it on YouTube. It's why I've never recorded a valve clearance video. I've done 4 or 5 in my life now, and checks, and then obviously all of them every time needed a clearance, unfortunately. I could jump this bike, but no, we won't. You'd have to come from the other direction anyway. That'd be fun though. But you know, that's a big thing for me as well, is driving myself to learn more, you know, helping other people learn more. And just because, you know, if someone sits down and they've had a bad day and they sit down and turn on one of my videos, and then, you know, they think to themselves, you know what, maybe life isn't so bad. That to me is a bloody huge motivator. Because, you know, I've kind of touched on this before. I am someone who has some days come home and been like, why do I bother? You know, why am I getting up every day? Why am I going to work? This kind of sucks a lot. And, you know, if even one of my videos one day, you know, someone sits down and they're having a bad day and they go, you know what, I want to do that. There's a goal for myself. And that's what they work towards, however many years it takes, and then they do it. And again, I've had messages like that, you know, like, oh, I really wanted to buy a bike somewhere foreign and ride at home. And then I saw you do it from Germany and you did all your budget, and I realized I can do that. And then they went and did it, and they felt better about themselves and their life. And that to me is really, really, really cool. Because, you know, like I said, when I made those videos riding home from Germany, I was in a very similar situation myself, in that I was like, what's the point of it all, you know? You go to work, you come home, you make dinner, you do all the chores that you need to do, and then you're like, oh, I get to get up and do it again. And that's why I do set goals, you know, most of them bike related, so that I actually do have a reason to get up every morning and go to work. I don't have kids. I'm almost certainly never going to have kids. I don't want them. I can see those being a pretty good motivator to get up every day, though. I think that would be incredibly selfish if I ever had kids just for that, though. So I obviously wouldn't do that. But that's why I do set goals for myself, you know, like build the SV650. It was like ride the Z900RS on track. You know, all the trips to West Virginia, trips to wherever. The Blue Ridge Parkway was a long-term goal. All these things are motivators, and what you'll notice is, you know, it's one of those things that the more of those things I do, and if I share them on the channel, you know, maybe they'll help someone else also set those goals or similar goals and dig themselves out of whatever hole they might feel like they're in. And that, I would say, those two are the largest reasons why I keep making videos. I hope that is a very long-winded answer to the question, but I thought it was an interesting one, so I decided to make a video on it. If you asked that question, please do drop a comment, or if you were ever interested about it, please do drop a comment. If you've liked the video, please do hit the like button, because it does help YouTube show it to other people. You know, I mean, you can literally track the success of a video on how many people watch in the first couple of hours and how many people like it in the first couple of hours. So yeah, I do appreciate it if you do that. And if you're not subscribed and you want to see more videos from me, whether they be in the workshop, on the track, or out in the road like this, then maybe subscribe. Up to you, you don't have to. I understand if you don't. It is free though. But I mean, if you do, you do. If you don't, it doesn't. I've already more subscribers than I ever thought it would, so it doesn't bother me. And yeah, as always, a very special thank you to all of my patrons. And I didn't mention them, but my patrons are also genuinely probably the actual reason that this channel is still around, because there have been a few times that I was like, you know, maybe it is time to pack it in. And several of them have said like, no, because I mean, even if you make one every month, you should keep making them. And then, you know, invariably I say, yeah, that's a good idea, and then I just keep making videos on the current schedule, because I mean, it is partially a habit now, but it's also just big birds. It is just something I enjoy doing, you know. It really is. It sometimes gives a purpose to get out on a bike when I'm otherwise finding it hard to motivate myself to do so. So, you know, there you go. Special thank you to all of my patrons for keeping me motivated when sometimes it is lacking. I do appreciate you all a lot. And yeah, until next time, if you watched this far, I appreciate it. I hope you enjoy the video. And yeah, until next time, adios. Outro crew, what would you say, you know, you would miss most about the channel if I ever did stop doing it? Just out of interest. Like I said, I have no plans on actually quitting. I threaten it within my kind of close friends group all the time, just to upset one person in particular. Because I'm a sick person and I enjoy upsetting my friends, you know, that's just how I am. But yeah, let me know, what's the thing you would miss most if I ever just fully stopped uploading? Good job, buddy. I mean, it's not on a turn. Clibbins are not dangerous unless you kind of being a silly goose, or they're hit on a hidden corner, you know what I mean? That is something that could legitimately mess you up. But yeah, that's it. What would you miss most, outro crew? Bye, outro crew.